Millimeters between fame and failure. Milliseconds between first and forgotten. Take your seat. Enter the new era. F1 22. Do you want to know what it's like? How it feels behind the wheel. On the most exclusive asphalt in the world. 1,000 horsepower at your command. Speed like you've never known. Millimeters between fame and failure. Milliseconds between first and forgotten. Take your seat. Enter the new era. F1 22. Do you want to know what it's like? How it feels behind the wheel. On the most exclusive asphalt in the world. 1,000 horsepower at your command. Speed like you've never known. Millimeters between fame and failure. Milliseconds between first and forgotten. Take your seat. Enter the new era. F1 22. Do you want to know what it's like? How it feels behind the wheel. On the most exclusive asphalt in the world. 1,000 horsepower at your command. Speed like you've never known. Millimeters between fame and failure. Milliseconds between first and forgotten. Take your seat. Enter the new era. F1 22. Do you want to know what it's like? How it feels behind the wheel. On the most exclusive asphalt in the world. 1,000 horsepower at your command. Speed like you've never known. Millimeters between fame and failure. Milliseconds between first and forgotten. Take your seat. Enter the new era. F1 22. Do you want to know what it's like? How it feels behind the wheel. on the most exclusive asphalt in the world. 1,000 horsepower at your command. Speed like you've never known. Millimeters between fame and failure. Milliseconds between first and forgotten. Take your seat. Enter the new era. F1 22. Do you want to know what it's like? How it feels behind the wheel. On the most exclusive asphalt in the world. 1,000 horsepower at your command. Speed like you've never known. Millimeters between fame and failure. Milliseconds between first and forgotten. Take your seat. Enter the new era. F1 22. Do you want to know what it's like? How it feels behind the wheel. On the most exclusive asphalt in the world. 1,000 horsepower at your command. Speed like you've never known. Millimeters between fame and failure. Milliseconds between first and forgotten. Take your seat. Enter the new era. F1 22. Do you want to know what it's like? How it feels behind the wheel. On the most exclusive asphalt in the world. 1,000 horsepower at your command. Speed like you've never known. Millimeters between fame and failure. Milliseconds between first and forgotten. Take your seat. Enter the new era. F1 22. Do you want to know what it's like? How it feels behind the wheel. On the most exclusive asphalt in the world. 1,000 horsepower at your command. Speed like you've never known. Millimeters between fame and failure. Milliseconds between first and forgotten. Take your seat. the new era. F1 22. Do you want to know what it's like? How it feels behind the wheel? On the most exclusive asphalt in the world. 1,000 horsepower at your command. Speed like you've never known. Millimeters between fame and failure. Milliseconds between first and forgotten. Take your seat. Enter the new era. F1 22.
I love Formula One because I'm intrigued by the amount of engineering that goes into it, the amount of speed these drivers take, and the risk-dare reward that comes with the sport itself.
Welcome to the first ever Formula One eSports Championships in Uganda, and this is proudly brought to you by Next Level Pro Gaming. And I'll be your commentator, Moses Icholo.
My name is Emron, and I will be your commentator for the first ever Ugandan eSports Formula One competition.
Racing for Makere F1 community is Gerald, aka Hamilton. Racing for, that is Bugolobi community, that is Black Oak F1 community, you have Kadugala, that is Mohire. And then for the Gardens F1 club, the none other than Eric and B-Wall. They'll be racing for Gardens F1 club.
Hi, my name is Eric from Gardens, Nigeria F1 Club, Formula One enthusiast. I like Formula One, I like engines, I like speed, I like adrenaline. I've been driving from the age of 12.
My name is Mohire, aka Kadugala, and I'm going to be racing in the first ever eSports Championship at Next Level Gaming. I love speed because it is part of me. My family races, everyone in my family just goes as fast as they go. I love Formula One because of this particular reason, because these are very, very fast cars.
My name is Samuel King Sanya, and I love Formula One and motorsport purely for the adrenaline, the winning strategies, the cars, the overcuts and the undercuts, the competition. Catch me representing the Moving Ads Formula One community in Uganda's first ever eSports Formula One Championship.
What's up, people? My name is Gerald, also known as Hamilton. The reason why I like Formula One is basically my nickname, Hamilton, because he's a 7-time world champion. And he's done that as a black man, you know that's very possible. So I'm going to be there on the 17th of August, racing for the Makere Formula One community at the Next Level Experience via Chevando alongside Gayaza Road. So be there to watch me because I got aggressive overtakes like Verstappen, though I'm a Hamilton fan.
Come support us.
And B-Wall will start on pole in Mexico. If there's anyone, if there's a driver who has improved from being a Latifi to being a Charles Leclerc, it's B-Wall. What a race this. We are in the Mexico Grand Prix. 3 DRS zones for these drivers to take advantage of. But importantly, for the viewers out there, we have damage enabled in this race. So anything, and there will be safety cars indeed for this race. And what a good start from B-Wall. Gets the perfect start, gets that one, and there's a bit of knocking going on behind him. But he continues to drive calmly and gently. Oh, and B-Wall has been hit from the back by Joel Kamadi. Illegal overtake by B-Wall, so he has to give back those places, and he's done exactly that. We will not have a safety car because B-Wall was able to recover. Gerald Hamilton, the championship leader, is in 9th. Kanim, better yet, Eric, is in 4th. And Eric knows he has to win this race. He must win this race if he's to stop Gerald Hamilton from running away with this championship. As I promised, there is damage, meaning, and B-Wall crashes again. Oh dear. Can he come out of this? Can he reverse out? Dear me, not the race B-Wall wanted to have. Started on pole. Very forgettable race for B-Wall.
You know, Moses, when you began commentary, you said that, you know, he's now at Charles Leclerc, and if there's one thing we know about Charles Leclerc, when he starts on pole, he very rarely wins the race. So if you've put that on him, then I guess it explains why he's now down in 10th place. But that was unfortunate. His reaction time wasn't as good as Kadugala's.
Well, Kadugala and Joel Kamadi entered into the pit because they got some bit of damage on their car. And B-Wall has also had to enter that pit because there was some bit of damage on his front wing. So much time lost for the Guardians F1 driver. So much time lost. This is not going to go well for the Guardians F1 team today. Moving odds is in very unfamiliar territory. He is leading this race, Samuel King. Oh my goodness. What a race. You know, we spoke about damage being put into this race. We spoke about how we needed to see a little bit of all that action and how the drivers are going to protect their cars, how they are going to be very disciplined. And in just one lap, they have been tested.
For sure. Just at the start of the race, we've already seen, you know, B-Wall getting into that, Kadugala being trapped in that, and you know, Joel as well. And yet these are the guys who are at the top of the grid last previous race that we just had. So things have gone wrong for them. That's the unpredictability about F1 that you definitely enjoy to watch.
Well, Eric has to fend off, that is Gerald Hamilton, the championship leader, and B-Wall has been given a warning for exceeding track limits. He needs to breathe. He needs to come down and focus on his race. He knows this track. He knows the hardships of some of the turns, especially in Sector 3. So he has to be absolutely careful. He's been given some DRS. If he's able to utilize it, very good for him. Kanim continuing to drive ever so gently. He appeared here yesterday to practice, and he seems to be able to take advantage of
that practice that he got yesterday. He is absolutely giving it everything. But Gerald Hamilton is not far away. He's 1.9 seconds behind Eric. These two are the championship leaders, and these two are going to battle it out till the very last minute of this race. But guess what? Samuel King is absolutely enjoying being at the top of this race. We have 36 laps to drive for. We've only driven 4 laps of this race, so there is a whole 32 laps to go. You definitely want to first take a moment and just breathe, because this race is going to test everything about these drivers. You know, we talk about Sector 3 and how hard it is, and we've seen drivers losing, losing their corners, losing their turns. We've seen that Kadugala, who initially was having a torrid time in Brazil, seems to be having a bit of, concentration and focus this time round in Mexico, despite the fact that he's finding himself in 7th. And ultimately, what we have discovered with this championship is that if you are able to maintain the track, you are able to close down the gap on everyone else.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of Kadugala's strengths is, hitting the apex, having the driving line when it comes to corners and turns, and that's very advantageous here where we're racing. So he definitely has the advantage here. I'm just a little bit worried about Samuel King. As much as he's leading the race, he's constantly going off the track, and I'm wondering whether he will get a penalty anytime soon. But so far it looks good for him.
Well, if there's anything we know about Formula 1 is that if you exceed the track limits and you've been given the warning twice, you are getting that 3-second penalty. So he has to protect himself. He has to keep within the racing line and ensure that he's safe. Well, there was a bit of an action, and there we go. And Gerald Hamilton gets the better of Eric, gets into 2nd position. These two, because of what is at stake, they are not going to give each other room to breathe. But Gerald Hamilton taking advantage of Eric's. Oh dear. It's now a whole 2 seconds separating Gerald and Hamilton and Eric. .3 seconds separating these two. But Joel Kamadi is into 4th. For Kadugala, he's into 6th. He needs to continue racing. He needs to keep a cool head. He needs to make sure that he's able to get himself into the top 3. And he's been knocked by Mazepin, Kadugala. He's not a very happy person today. B-Wall, can he get closer to Kadugala? Can he get the better of Kadugala? Is gaining, and they touch. Ooh! There they touch again, and B-Wall clips the back of Kadugala. Kadugala is actually not going to be a happy man today, because everyone is clipping him and everyone is pushing him off the track. Oh, yeah. B-Wall needs to get rid of Russell and Mazepin, but he's gone it the hard way. And he's hit Mazepin, and now he has to recover again. Oh, B-Wall now finds himself with a whole lot of work to do, and is gone off the track, way off the track. Well, if there was a race where these two didn't want any of this to be happening, it's definitely Mexico. But like we promised, Mexico is a very, very difficult circuit, and you want to be as gentle as you can, especially when there are so many drivers ahead of you.
For sure, and I think Dual is being quite very aggressive here. No wonder he ended up into the barriers, and it's going to cost him time if he's very aggressive. Sometimes you just put your head down.
And he's pitted for a new wing.
Now he's
a front
for
wing.
sure, because he lost it in the barriers there. He was very aggressive with Kadugala. The same thing that happened to him with another driver, so he definitely had to end up in the barriers one way or another. He has to put down his head and do what he did in the previous race. Just do clean racing, and it will be good for him.
Well, if there's anything that is going to test drivers, it's going to be that the damage effect is going to test every single driver, and we have seen just about how every one of them has been affected, apart from Eric and Gerald Hamilton. For Gerald Hamilton now, his tires are starting to wear off, so any moment he will have to pit. But we've just raced 8 laps, so the tire degradation is coming into effect. You know, everyone is being affected in one way or another. Well, Samuel King, the driver of Moving Ads, is here, is giving it everything. He's leading this race. He has a whole 12-second gap on Gerald Hamilton, who is the championship leader, and he will be wanting to win this race because he's not won a race in quite some time, and he knows that not winning a race is having a huge impact on how the championship is going to go. For Eric, it's all about making sure that he doesn't get out of podium positions. Ruth, in Brazil, we saw every driver having a bit of an opportunity to watch it. Well, we saw careful driving. There was no damage. But now, every driver knew that coming into the season, there was going to be damage. But no one seems to be careful. No one seems to be patient and disciplined. And that is resulting in so many penalties, but also a lot of damage on their cars. What could have changed in just a small period of time?
I think definitely right now it's how they are reacting. That would be my opinion. You know, the start of the race, how people reacted to, you know, the lights out. That cost him a lot. He got overtaken and then he tried to fight back for his place. That definitely dropped him down the grid. You're seeing, you know, Eric getting overtaken by Gerald Hamilton. You know, Gerald was really, really aggressive on that overtaken. So if Eric couldn't match that energy, he lost the place. So it's definitely how you react to it. And some of the drivers are being very aggressive and others are just being calm. So it definitely affects how they're finishing this race. But it's too early to tell. I would say it's too early to tell.
Well, we could see an overlap because Gerald Hamilton is right behind B-Wall, but importantly, Samuel King is right behind Kadugala. So an overlap is happening, and there it is for Samuel King. He gets the overlap on Kadugala. Samuel King goes on to lead this race. Can Gerald Hamilton get that overlap on B-Wall? We wait to see, because B-Wall seems to have regained his composure ever since those two front wings were changed. But it's all to go for now. Everyone. Joel Kamadi had a fantastic race in Brazil. Now he finds himself in no man's land, because now he's into fourth, and he is behind Eric by a whole 20 seconds. So much gap between him and the podium positions, a place where he would have loved to be. Eric is absolutely flying in those corners. Biwal has done absolutely well to make sure that he keeps within this race and is trying to get the better of everything else, and he's gotten himself into 8th position. He needs to continue pushing, but he's gotten a warning for exceeding track limits. But what a race from Samuel King as he gets another overlap in there. Eric has good tires so far to go. If he's able to maintain those tires until the 15th or the 18th lap, it will be very good for his strategy. And Kadugala has pitted. Needed fresher tires. He needs to get a new front wing. They went for a double pit stop, him and Samuel King. And Samuel King has come out and is now into 3rd position because Gerald Hamilton has taken the leadership of this race. Eric is into 2nd. Gerald Hamilton unable to overlap Biwal just yet. For Biwal, he needs to maintain his composure. He needs to maintain the drive that he's been having. That is all that he has to do. We promised you drama, we promised you action, and a 3-second penalty has been given to Biwal. Biwal continuing with a very fine race ever since he quitted for a new front wing. He's found a way of mastering Sector 3. And that's very, very important for that is F1 driver. 1 million shillings on the line. Gerald into the pits. Doesn't need a new front wing. Just needs fresher tires, and he's gotten the fresher tires. He could be going in for a 2-pit strategy because he's gone in for new soft tires with many laps to go. He's definitely going to come back in for new sets of tires as a race goes on. Eric is now leading this race with 1.7 seconds on Samuel King. Gerald has to find that 6 seconds gap between him and Samuel King. Pit crew is asking Biwal if he wants to be able to pit. Samuel King is having an absolute flying race because he's setting purple sectors, he's leading this race. Quite the race is hard so far, because if you remember, in Brazil he struggled a lot. I didn't think that he would have it in him to come and compete incredibly well in Mexico, given how tough the Mexican circuit is, but he's put in quite a shift really in this race.
He has, and he has a really good driving line. I think that also plays an important role when it comes to winning a race and just leading the laps generally. But also for Eric, I'm not surprised that he has dropped down 2 places, because initially these other guys are pitted, and interestingly everyone is on soft tires, so that is going to be an interesting race to see, because it's soft tires for everybody. It looks like it's almost the same pit stop strategy, so it's just going to toggle everything up. But Eric was most definitely going to lose those places. The other drivers behind him were pitted for soft tires. As much as he had control of the race, he just had to lose those positions. And Gerald in the Mercedes, he just has that good turning speed. It was bound to happen.
Yeah, and interestingly, when you look at how B-Wall has, come up in this race, started off well, around lap 4, lost the race, lost the track of the focus of the entire race, but since then fought his way back. He's now into 5th position. He needs to continue pushing. Perhaps he could find himself just right behind Joel Kamadi, because Joel Kamadi seems to be struggling in this race despite having won the Brazilian Grand Prix, and ultimately we could be in for a late drum of this race by what we're seeing, because everyone is going to have to pit yet again for new tires, and depending on the sets of tires that they pit for, that will determine how this race will go. And we know so much that pitting reduces the time you have on your opponent, as the races have shown.
For sure, and if I was any of the drivers, I would still pit for soft tires, because everybody's on soft tires. You're almost halfway through the race, so why would you go for like a hard tire choice, which is just going to slow you down as much as it will endure? So it doesn't make sense. I would still go for the soft tires, and it will now come down to pit stop strategy, because they look quite close to each other on the grid. Not so close, but it's just going to come down to who pits when, and also exceeding track limits, because a lot of drivers have issues with that. Going off the track, you're definitely getting penalized. It also slows you down if you're on the grass. So strategy and also how you're driving really is going to play a huge role.
That is true, because just about now, Eric has been given a 3-second penalty for exceeding track limits. So, everyone may just get a bit of, I think what the federation is doing is saying, penalty for you, everyone gets a penalty. Because that's what we seem to be seeing so far. But when you look at Samuel King, he's enjoying being at the top there. He's maintained that 5.2 second gap between him and Gerald Hamilton. Usually this is when there's a whole 5-second gap between Gerald and the driver, he's able to break it down in just a matter of laps. But Samuel King has maintained that gap for the last 3 laps, and I think it's going to be very important for him, and now it's a whole 6.5 laps seconds. Gerald Hamilton may have swerved off the track, and that has given Samuel King a little bit of breathing space to get into this race. Ooh.
But I wouldn't be comfortable if I was Gerald King, because if the other driver behind me is just 6 seconds away, if they pulled an undercut, something will happen. They can still come for me, and he has to pit again. That is for sure. So it's not a set thing that you will win, but it's just winning or higher. So I wouldn't be comfortable if I was him. I would still put my head down, increase the gap like we saw in Brazil to about 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and I can be like, okay, I'm probably going to bring it home, hammer time. But now it's not safe. It's just 6 seconds. It's not safe enough for him.
No one is safe. And if, for those who have been with us from the very time we started this championship here at the Next Level Experience, if you remember that even when you think you have a 20-second gap, it's just never safe, because any mistake could see you lose that position. And Samuel King is no stranger to this information. And I think that's the kind of anticipation he has. He's kept his head down. Another 3-second penalty to Eric. He's accumulating them like like dominoes. So, I mean, the Gardens F1 team will not be happy with their drivers today. And B-Wall pits for some more soft. He's pitted for hard tires. Could he be going for the long run?
That means he's going for the long run, but you know, I'm not an engineer, but I'm like, why would he go for the hard tires? Because he's definitely going to slow himself down. He's already, he has a huge gap between himself and Gerald Hamilton, and you know, he has struggled with the track limits issues and being quite aggressive. So the hard tire choice, I'm not sure, but I could be wrong. And like you said earlier, he's probably Charles Leclerc, and if you know one thing about Charles Leclerc, if he begins on pole, like I said, he very rarely wins the race.
Well, probably the commentators curse calling him a Charlie Clark, but yeah, I think he's recovering well, and with the strategy they have gone for as Gardens F1 club of pitting him for hard tires, they probably are praying that as everyone else is pitting for fresher tires, that will be enough time for him to to bridge down that gap, and if it works out for him, that would be a master stroke for the team.
For sure, I now see what you're saying. Other people pit as he gains track position. That sort of makes sense. But if they pit earlier...
Well, the unfortunate bit is that he now collected a 3 seconds penalty.
Oh, okay. Now it's just running everything for him. But even if other people pitted behind him and he still has track position, the fact that they're on fresher, soft tires means that they are probably quicker, especially the Mercedes. They're just going to come and pass right by him like he has been doing to people in Brazil. They might do it to him, but I could be wrong, you know? I could be wrong.
Yes, well, I mean, we saw with the Kadugala what happened, and, you know, there's an opportunity for us to see drama. We'll take that. Eric, can he find it in him to close down that gap between him and Gerald Hamilton? For Gerald Hamilton, it's a question of, can he chase down Samuel King? At first it was 5.2 seconds. Now it's an entire 8 seconds gap between Samuel King and Gerald Hamilton. And we have a whole 16 laps to go. That's a lot of laps. That's a lot of time. And anything can happen within that time. Anyone who pulls the undercut could get the better of this race.
For sure, now it's your pit stop strategy. Whoever chooses the right time to pit probably will get it if they also don't rake up penalties. But you know what, I also have a good feeling about Gerald Hamilton. He has really nailed it when it comes to this track. He's been getting his driving line perfect. He's not in any collisions or crashes. I think he might, you know, finish in the top 3. I'm just giving it a guess. And, you know, as much as the gap is widening, now it has gone to 9 seconds. If he keeps up with the pace and, you know, the person at the top doesn't keep up, he will get there. He will get there.
Well, you spoke about how the tire choice for the Gardens F1 team. Well, Gerald Hamilton collects a 3 second penalty. You spoke about how the choice of tires was going to come into play. And indeed it has come into play because there's a whole 52 seconds gap between B-Wall and Gerald Hamilton, and that's a lot of time. Those are 2 whole pit stops. Actually, 3 pit stops if we're to be, or 2 pit stops if we're to, you know, take the low average. And that means that Gerald Hamilton can pit and still come out ahead of B-Wall, which means B-Wall will have to pray for a collision somewhere for Gerald Hamilton in order for him to be able to get closer to the Twitter community driver.
For sure, you know, for sure, that gap almost feels illegal. The 52 seconds, that's a lot of time in F1 for you to have that gap between you and the other driver. So if I was Joe,
it's a whole minute.
It is a whole minute. I would pit, you know, cruise in the pit stops, get new tires on, and then come back onto the track and have the upper advantage.
You can even get a new front wing.
For sure, you can even get a new front wing while you're at it, and you know, get a new helmet and everything. But yeah.
Well, like I said earlier on, everyone is being given penalties like as though they are serving out some bit of gorillas, and Kadugala has been given a 3 second penalty in there. Everyone is collecting, I don't know if they are collecting infinity stones, but I know that Eric has collected enough infinity stones so far.
You know what, we are lucky. The rate at which they're collecting penalties is crazy. But just imagine if we were at a tighter track, let me say Monaco, it would have been, barrier after barrier, people crashing into barriers. At least on this track, you have room to go off the track and, exceed track limits and get penalized. But if you were on a tighter circuit, it would have been dangerous. So I think the drivers need to just, be a little bit more on the track and hopefully not break up penalties, because it's just increasing the gap between themselves and the person ahead of them. So.
Well, a reminder to you everyone, for those of you who are just joining us, we are joined today in commentary by Ruth, and she's doing an amazing job in analyzing our drivers. And guess what? The drama continues. The pressure is on. The pressure is on. For Samuel King, he's having a race of his life, because now he has an entire 18 seconds gap on Gerald Hamilton, who is the championship leader. My oh my, what a race by Samuel King. The moving ads community will be very, very happy with what they are seeing. For Samuel King, if only he's able to stretch those seconds to 20, 21, 24, he could have an entire pit stop, come out and still be able to go ahead and win this race.
For sure, if you could increase the gap. But you see now the thing that's tricky about that is that the person behind him, Gerald Hamilton, is on the same tires as he is. So it now really comes down to skill. Who's the better driver of the two? Who is going to be able to hold the fire? So if someone can extend his lead and just be way better than Gerald, it will just work in his favor. Otherwise, Gerald could catch up with him in the remaining few laps, although that doesn't seem very likely.
Well, it's now just 10 seconds, and it seems Gerald today, before the race, we managed to get a glimpse of having a chat with Gerald, and he was in very good company. I don't know whether that has had an impact on his race as well, but that is not at the kind of races he would have wanted to have. These races are very unlike Gerald Hamilton, a man we all know for hammer time, but there's so much time to go. 13 laps, a 3 seconds penalty for Gerald Hamilton. Everyone is collecting Infinity Stones today. Everyone is collecting penalties. So it's going to be a case of who has collected more penalties to give way for who has lesser penalties at the end of it all. But for Samuel King, he's driving his race, he's focused on his race, and now it's 11-second gap between him and Gerald Hamilton. I mean, moving ads will be very happy with what they are seeing. Joel Kamadi getting ever so close to Eric. 1.4 seconds separating these two drivers. And Joel Kamadi has the car. He has the car that can chase down Joel Kamadi. It's now 1.1 seconds. This is where we're going to keep the drama. This is where all the action is. It's 1 second separating these two drivers. Oh dear, 0.9 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, get closer to the edge of your seats. And Biwol is being overtaken right there. Big push by Samuel King, and overlap right there. Samuel King absolutely flying up there today. But we're keeping on with these two Red Bull cars. It's Joel Kamadi with 0.7 seconds behind Eric. Now 1.6 seconds. Because guess what? Kamadi has entered the pits. He's gone in for fresher tires and he's gone in for mediums. Well, if you're going in for mediums at this point, he's definitely looking for finishing this race with those tires. But Eric is on hards, and Eric pitted for those hards, so it means he's also going for the long run or for the long drive. So this could actually have played out well for Eric, who now has a whole 20 seconds gap on Joel Kamadi.
But you know, I don't understand why he pitted when he pitted, because he could have overtaken Eric and then gone to the pits, yeah? But then he decided to pit right before he could make the overtake, because the gap was less than a second, and then he decided to pit. And now he's out on the medium tire compound. His teammate in the Red Bull as well is now on the hard tire compound, so it's just going to come down to speed. But I think with the medium tire compound you have a better chance of overtaking the one on the hard tires. Who knows, it will come down to speed as well.
Well, like we said earlier on, everyone is collecting penalties, like they are collecting gorillas, and Kadugala has collected them. Today, Kadugala came to collect penalties. In Brazil, he collected a penalty of 15 seconds, and that meant he finished outside the podium positions. And now he's well into his 4th penalty. My goodness, those are 12 seconds already for the Black Ox community driver. Not the race he would have loved to have. Absolutely not the race. But it's Joel Kamadi now closing the gap between him and Eric. It's 19 seconds separating him and Eric. For Eric, it's all about focusing on his track, because now he has to close down the gap between him and Gerald Hamilton, who is 13 seconds ahead of him. With all that drama, one man in particular is very happy, and that is Samuel King. 10 laps to go. He has 12 seconds lead on everyone else. Is absolutely enjoying himself out there today.
And he's running on a medium tire. Everything just looks perfect for him. But you never know the end. You never really can tell with these things. It just takes him, one wrong turn and he's in the barrier, one wrong turn and he's in the gravel. But I hope that doesn't.
We call that the commentator's curse.
I hope that doesn't happen, because he's had such a brilliant drive today. I really hope that doesn't happen. I'm just very concerned about Joel Kamadi's pit stop strategy. He had it all going, and now you see that the gap between him and Eric is now over 19 seconds. That pit stop just came at the wrong time, in my opinion. It just was not the right time, because they originally had less than a second, and then he pitted, and now it's 19 seconds gap. It just was not right.
Well, Biwall, who had gotten accustomed to podium finishes, is in either familiar or unfamiliar territory, because he seems to have dropped back to a position where he was before. Samuel King maintaining that 12-second gap between him and Gerald. For Gerald, he stretched the lead on Eric to 15 seconds. Eric has got to find the force, whether he needs more downforce or he needs a little bit of more power from his team, is something that he needs to be able to do. And now he's been told by the team that the pit window is open for him. Well, we do know that he's on hard tires, and those hard tires can take him until the very end of this race. Gerald Hamilton trying to chase down the race leader Samuel King, who is absolutely not leaving anything to chance. Every time Gerald Hamilton is trying to cut down the gap, he's cutting down the gap by only 0.2 seconds, and Samuel King is able to recover immediately. And I think that has been the difference for Samuel King. His focus on ensuring that he has a clean race, he maintains the racing line. I think that has been a difference for him in this race.
For sure, whenever you go off the track or you hit the curbs, you're definitely losing a little bit of time, and in Formula 1, even a millisecond affects how you finish on the grid. So I think if Gerald, stepped going off the track a little bit, hitting the curbs at certain turns, he will most definitely improve, because now we are less than 10 laps away. It's almost down to the wire now. But
7 laps to go.
7 laps to go.
And Samuel King, he has to maintain this, maintains the kind of drive he's having. and he will be certain of getting his first championship win this season. Oh, what a moment that will be for the moving driver.
And I have to say, he has put in the work. You see him coming for practice and really grinding and grinding and grinding. It really pays off. It has really paid off for him.
Well, Joel Kamadi has closed down the gap on Eric, because Eric has been swerving on this track and is getting off the track limit, and that is going to be the difference between Eric and Joel Kamadi. And now Eric is behind Gerald Hamilton by a whole 23-second gap. But we remember that most of these drivers have 3-second penalties. I bet Eric had been collecting them more like he was collecting Infinity Stones. But he has the gap yet. But Joel Kamadi has now cut down the gap from 13 seconds to 10 seconds. Navi moments. 9 seconds. The tires are worn out. He needs to think about pitting. Because if he doesn't pit, even B-Wall could come out and get it, because B-Wall pitted for fresher hearts. Oh dear, what a race. Meanwhile, because the Gardens community pitted both of their drivers for fresh hard tires, and it seems to have affected them in the long run. We saw this with Kadugala in Brazil. We have now seen it with the Gardens F1 drivers as well. Is it a case of not studying, the videos from the previous races to see that this is a kind of strategy that doesn't work?
For sure, you really have to pay attention, especially in the track that you're on. If you want maximum speed, really, I don't think you'd want to go for the hard tires, especially towards the end of the race. I think you'd opt for the mediums just to be safe. The softs are fast, but you could wear out pretty quickly. And now you're seeing the drivers being affected by that, most definitely. And also now, his tires are wearing out and he's just losing more time. Joel is catching up with him. I would be so sad if, not sad, but it would be very interesting if B-Wall also caught up with him, because the gap between him and B-Wall is close to a minute, and if he caught up with him, that just goes to show you how the pit stop strategy did not work at all. The tire choice did not work at all.
Absolutely, because guess what? It's now 5 seconds separating Joel Kamadi and Eric. If ever a strategy will not work, and he's gone off the track again. Oh dear, he has no grip on those tires, meaning he's going to continue swerving on those corners. The wing has damage, the tires have no grip. Everything is going wrong for Eric that should have been going right. For Joel Kamadi, he won in Brazil, found himself in out of position, but now he has an opportunity for redemption to get back into podium position. .7 seconds, 5 laps to go. If ever there were Navi moments, oh no, he is really lost the grip. He has lost the grip. 1.6, 1 second, 0.9 seconds separated these two. Any moment, remember that in Mexico there are 3 DRS zones. So Joel Kamadi has to maintain his composure, because if he also makes a mistake, there may not be a time to recover. He is just in his rear view. 0.4 seconds. He is in DRS zone. Can Joel Kamadi get him? We are on board with Joel Kamadi. Just not yet. The turn came right in the nick of time. Ooh, and he's pushed him a little wide. They did not collide. Joel Kamadi gets into 3rd position, and that is all that he needed. Joel Gerald Kamadi has 2 3-second penalties, but Eric has 4-second penalties, and he has no tires. Well, it looks like he may have just given her that position, and if more laps are to be given into this race, he may have to give position to also B-Wall, because B-Wall has cut down from a 40-second gap to now 40 seconds. The teammate has said that's impossible. Gerald is going for yet another overlap on B-Wall. Well, if you are out there and you watch Formula 1 and you see someone being overlapped and you ask why someone can get overlapped, we want to give you an opportunity to come and drive, and you see that an overlap can be done at any moment. Samuel King, 2 laps to go. Can he get in for his ultimate first-time win in the next level experience? Well, Kadugala has been collecting penalties this weekend. I mean, probably the eSports Federation may need to go easy on Kadugala, because he's no longer collecting infinity stones. He's now just collecting beach stones. I mean, when you look at Samuel King, struggled a lot in Brazil, but he found stability in Mexico. And like you said, he's been practicing, and what a race he's had.
For sure, practice makes perfect. You see a lot of people putting in the work, and for sure it's an example of practice making perfect. You put in the hours, and now it's really paying off. I think he's taking this one home. The one thing I don't understand, I know they say never give up, but why doesn't Eric just spit and get new tires? He's just losing positions. Everybody's gaining time on him, and it's just not working for him at the moment.
Well, by the look of things, B-Wall will need 5 laps to be able to catch up with Eric, but one thing he will be very happy with is the fact that he is really trimmed down the difference between him and his teammate Eric from 52 seconds and a 3-second penalty to Eric again. That means he has 15 seconds chopped off of his time, and now B-Wall needs to do everything possible in his power to be able to actually trim down those seconds to 15 seconds for him to have an opportunity at finishing in 4th. Well, this race was supposed to be a race of carnage. This race has become a race of penalties. And Joel Kamadi, who won in Brazil, and B-Wall has crashed. B-Wall crashed just when he had gained enough on Eric. He crashes out. Oh dear me. Dear me. Well, B-Wall is not very happy with his team for calling him into the pit stop. He's asking to pit to do what? With 1 lap to go, he just wants to be able to finish this lap. Samuel King, final sector. Can he be able to maintain this? Will he maintain this? Can he find it within himself to finally get a win in this championship? He has 9 seconds ahead of Gerald Hamilton, who is the championship leader, but that is not what Samuel King will be focusing on. What he'll be focusing on is making sure that he will come home to win this race in Mexico. And now for the last turns of this sector. Here goes the moving ads driver, and he's come home to win the Mexican Grand Prix. Samuel King gets his first win of the season in Mexico. Moving ads will definitely have a prize for him at home, because what a race he's had, and what a moment for the moving ads driver. He's fought and fought, finished fourth, finished fifth in several races. At some races he has gotten a DNF, but finally, with a lot of practice, he's won the Mexican Grand Prix, and Gerald Hamilton comes home to second. Eric will come home into fourth, because Joel Kamadi is going to come home into third. What a race we have had, ladies and gentlemen. For the Gardens F1 drivers, they will not be happy with the result. But for Joel Kamadi, he will be happy that he was not finished outside the top four. Ruth, what a race.
What a race indeed. Congratulations to Samuel King. I mean, he deserves it. He put on a good show. He has been practicing. He really was on the best driving line, in my opinion, and he has come home to win the Mexican Grand Prix. Well done to him.
Well done to him indeed. What a race. If you have not enjoyed this, we don't know what you have enjoyed, because to me, I think the last time we had this kind of action was in Imola, and now the next races will be on the 20th of November. And if you want to watch these races live in action, you will have to go to Gardens, Nigeria, and be able to watch all the actions live and see these drivers and interact with your drivers. But what a race, ladies and gentlemen. That is it all from us here at Next Level Experience. We bring you the championship, the first ever Formula 1 eSports championship. And what a race we are having. What a championship we are having.